Welcome to the show that explores the methods and strategies on rocking the financial side of your music business. With over 40 years combined experience, here are your hosts, Chris Webb and Dave Tampkin.
Welcome to Musicians Tip Jar, where we talk about musicians and money. Where we want to help you optimize your efforts to where you are irresistible to the things that you want. I'm Chris Webb, joined by my co-host, who is irresistible to every dog on the planet, Dave Tampkin.
That is very true. That is very true. Dogs seem to love me, and I love them in return. Same with babies. Babies love me. I love them in return. So I have those two things going for me.
Yeah, I remember you once said that you wanted to start a three-legged dog rescue farm in your older years.
I still do. Still do. So
are you still going to call it Dogleg Ranch, like I suggested?
You know what? I don't see how we could name it anything else after that. So we'll send you the royalties.
Perfect. Well, today we sit down with producer, singer, content creator, educator, SEIDS. She is a powerhouse of knowledge and has achieved incredible success with her areas of music industry that are often overlooked or hidden by many's awareness. We discuss how the butterfly effect works, creating controlled controversy, and how to get your dream opportunities to come to you. Today's quote comes from our guest SEIDS. She said, "No is the most powerful word in any industry."
This week's nonprofit is hungryformusic.org. At Hungry for Music, their mission is putting quality musical instruments into hungry hands. They serve children who demonstrate a desire to learn music, as well as teachers who have students willing to learn. In 30 years, they've delivered more than 22,000 instruments to children in all 50 states and 35 countries. They believe that by sharing instruments and musical experiences, children who would not otherwise have the opportunity can experience a kind of freedom and self-discovery that is often stifled in the atmosphere of economic hardship. Learn more at hungrymusic.org.
SEIDS is a self-made music creator who turned a lack of performance gigs in 2020 into a thriving online brand by consistently posting Logic Pro X tutorials and music content on TikTok and YouTube and Instagram. She quickly amassed over 250,000 followers. Her approachable style led to partnerships with top companies like Apple, Splice, and Isotope. She emphasizes grit over glory, showing that success comes from showing up, working hard, and staying authentic. Today, she balances making music, mentoring artists, and creating educational content, proving how adaptability and community engagement can drive a modern, independent, and prosperous music career. Sabrina was such a pleasure to talk to and learn from. Please enjoy this first half of our interview with SEIDS. Let's go.
I'm sorry, Chris. I just love, and I got to hear about the wedding.
Oh, it was so good. It was kind of like an elopement style wedding with like just our family. That's it. So it was 12 of us, including me and my fiance, or my husband now, and our like camera and videographer. So it was like very like chill. And we did like the whole Vegas very silly wedding. I'm sure you've seen like some stuff, and I'll figure out a way to like post pictures. I don't know, probably like promoting my song. Every single thing I do, I only post for like my goals and stuff. So I have to like think of a creative way to do it.
I would think so. As you share your daily life and people get to know you from what you post, that something exciting like that would be awesome to see.
Yeah, it's definitely like a lot of people have followed me for, like a few years. So they know me and they're cheering me on and stuff. So that's kind of cool.
Well, without knowing us, we've been cheering you on for quite a while. And for me, I'm kind of a little starstruck. So if I can get the jitters out a little bit, it might take me a while, which is it's always something that I have a problem with anyway, especially when we started about the same time during COVID. And I guess we'll let you go through that. But we were trying to fulfill a need for our musician friends and just talk about diversifying your income and making sure something like this wouldn't happen again to musicians where all of a sudden one source of income went away.
First of all, just thank you so much for making some time for us and being here.
Yes.
This is really exciting for us. And, you know, it's just really valuable, I think, for the rest of the community that we are engaging in to hear stories like yours. And then also, you know, what's funny is you're the first interviewee that we've ever had that we were exposed to first through our algorithms. I think everybody else has been through community, you know what I mean? So that's kind of fun. So I think that's a good place to jump off on this and just kind of have you share your story of how you've gotten to where you are.
Yes. So I was one of those that lost my job during COVID. I was meant to be singing on cruise ships, and everything was canceled. I was stuck at home. I was totally depressed. So I actually got fed a Facebook ad, learn how to produce in 30 days. I said, this is stupid. I went to Berkeley. I didn't learn how to produce, but I clicked on the ad and the course was half off. It was actually learn how to produce with Blanks. I don't know if you guys know him, but full circle, like he follows me now, so that's really cool.
Awesome.
But yeah, so I took that course, and that course like single-handedly changed my life, plus posting on TikTok. And then I started posting on Instagram and whatnot. But I first started posting on TikTok. And then I had my epiphany moment where I realized, wow, like what I really love doing is creating. I love creating music. I love creating videos. I love creating like marketing funnels. I like creating emails. I just like creating in general. So it's like, okay, how can I figure out a way to get paid to do this? And that's when I realized, okay, let me work with music tech companies. And I can make video content for them. I can make ads for them. I could make sample packs, all of that kind of stuff. And I really wanted to work with Apple. So that's how I started posting things you didn't know you can do in Logic Pro, or here's a cool Logic Pro tip. Because I'm like, how am I going to get Apple to come to me? Because I can't go to them, you know? Like, they're going to be like, who is this girl? So that's basically my story. And now I have... Actually, Apple was the first company to reach out to me. So I really learned marketing, right? How to attract fans and clients. And I've made a bunch of products that a lot of people really like. I think one of you guys has some of them. Or
Totally.
Oh, okay, amazing. Yeah, so I have a Logic Pro crash course, which is like an ebook and a course like teaching you how to use Logic. Like basically what it took years to learn somebody in Logic in 45 minutes. And then you have like an ebook that you can reference. And then also figuring out or learning how to work with music tech companies, because I went to Berklee College of Music and I didn't even know that was a career option. Well, it's kind of evolved over the years, but it's such an amazing career that you can do. Like what I would have gotten paid like all month on a cruise ship, I get paid in one video, you know? So it's like such an amazing job that I'm trying to like expose more people to if they're interested in it, because I don't feel like very many people know about this career, and it's kind of like a little gold mine I feel like I tapped into. And when something works for me, I get very excited and I want to share it with everybody. I'm like, oh, you have to try this, like this works, like, you know. And it took so long to find financial and creative freedom. And that's why I'm so passionate also about teaching singer-songwriters how to produce music, because for so many years I was paying like a ton of money for producers who didn't quite get my sound. Most of those songs just ended up on a hard drive. I never even released it. And I could have just done it myself, but I genuinely thought like production was rocket science. So I was like, well, I can't do this, you know, this isn't for me. But that's why I'm trying to like switch singers and songwriters and other instrumentalist mentality. Like, you can produce, like you can do it, like you can do some of the heavy lifting, and then really good producers will want to work with you for free. I mean, that's what's happened to me. Like now I'm like working with amazing producers and we're doing collab releases with dance labels and stuff. And it's all just because I just started learning, you know? So that's my story in a nutshell. I have some other products, social media class and all that other stuff, but those are my two top sellers, I guess.
Totally. So let's first start with, why do you think Berklee didn't teach you, or it doesn't have like, it must have like a separate program maybe that you weren't taking that teaches people how to use their DAW?
Oh, so to be fair, it's not quite Berklee's fault. It's like my own fault. Like I was there 10 years ago, and at that time when I was, 18, I just wanted to be a singer, like I wanted to be Beyonce or whatever. That's what I wanted to go onto that trajectory. But it was because like you just didn't really know what and not necessarily like just talent, right? It's like you have to do so much stuff that I didn't actually want to do
Yeah.
to be order to get to even just being an artist, you know? Like if like Megan Trainor or like any of those people were to ask me to go on tour with them now, I genuinely wouldn't want to do that. Like, 'cause that's just not what I want to do. Like, I don't want to wear makeup. I don't want to create songs like commercial. I don't want to sing commercial songs or like I want to create music that I want to make. I don't want to create music that people would want to buy or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, it's a very specific kind of path that you have to go down. And like Taylor Swift says it best, it's like you have to want to love what you're doing so much that you'll do all the other crap that it takes to do the thing that you want to do. And like as you get older or as you learn, like, okay, this is what I want to do, this is what I don't want to do. Also, to be fair, and also at Berkeley, I don't remember who was the teacher that did like a logic class. I'm sure I took like an intro logic class, but it was just so boring. Do you know what I mean? Like they just made it so boring that I was just like, I just want to be like singing. At that time, I was like, I'm not even going to ever sing in a cover band. I'm only going to sing original music. You know what it is. You're like 18, you have like
Yes.
big dreams, and
Yes.
you don't realize like all the stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think it's funny because I think a lot of people like you said, like what Taylor's quote there, you know, that there's so much to learn that you don't really feel like doing, and it's really a hard lesson to learn that you have to force yourself to do those things in order to get what you want.
And also there's that, but you can also pivot. Like if it is really like not what you want to do. Like I forget when it was, but there was a moment where I was like, I actually don't want to be an artist. Like I don't want to do this. This is not for me. And I pivoted, and that's when I was like, what I really love doing is like performing, and I want to figure out a way to be like an entrepreneur. So that's when I was like, I learned a little bit about sales because I had one of my day jobs was working at Equinox, which is like a luxury gym, and I was like selling these gym memberships. So I always tell like musicians, like if you have to do a day job, like do an entry-level sales job because yes, it will suck. It'll be like the worst job ever. But typically they put you through like a really good sales training. So you learn like sales, you learn how to like overcome obstacles and like find the pain point and just such useful skills that will transcend the crappy job if you like take advantage of it. So I had this sales background and I learned like I'm a sales shark. Like I'm really good at this. And then I had this experience singing on cruise ships because that was my first job out of college. And I was like, okay, well, how can I combine the two so I can like I've always had that entrepreneur chip. Like I wanted to have something of my own, like a band or group or something. So then I created a girl group that was meant to go back on cruise ships and like guest entertaining. And I was like, okay, this is great. Like, da, da, da. Like I said, I love creating. So I'm like creating this thing. We created 2 shows. I did all these mashups. That was in GarageBand, but I was like writing all these different parts and like we were jumping around because there was like 3 of us. So like one verse would be the lead with one of the girls, and then the other one would flip, and then they were taking the high part, and then someone else was taking a lead. So it was like it was kind of a lot. It was like pretty intensive, and we had to do like full choreography. I spent 2 years on these like 2 shows. I even had like a slideshow where we were doing like a trivia for like 3 minutes in the show. Like it was like intense. And of course, like our first gig was May 2020.
Oh,
So
wow.
it was pretty devastating. Like I just posted about the butterfly effect in my story today. Do you guys know what the butterfly effect? So it's like the butterfly effect is crazy because if COVID never happened, then I would have never learned how to use Logic Pro. I would have never started producing. I would have never posted online. I would have never met my husband. I would have never had anything that has happened. And COVID was like the worst time for me. Like it was so bad. Like my grandfather died. I couldn't go to his funeral because of like social distancing. And like this man had like just people like in hazmat suits, like putting him in the ground. Like it was awful. And like stuck at home. The girl group that I built for 2 years was like $0. One of those girls who's like one of my best friends, like we stopped being friends. Like it was just like, it was like as bad as you can get, but it was like the best. It was like the best of the worst thing to ever happen to me. I can't even explain it. Like it's just so weird, and it just really made me flip my mindset of how like disappointments are. Like every disappointment that happens to you is actually an opportunity for something better. It doesn't feel like that at the time, but any horrible thing that happens to you could actually be the best thing. So Like I said, what I would have made on a cruise like all week, I make in one video from the comfort of my own home, like by
Hmm.
myself, you know, so it's like
Hmm.
astronomically better. But it was just so sad that we never got to get on a dang ship.
You know, one of my performers at my booking agency got stuck on a cruise ship.
Oh yeah, that
On
would
the-
have been way worse.
yeah, he was on there for I think 3 months in
And they're
Iceland.
oh yeah, and they're like locked in their cabin,
Yeah.
didn't get to go out. And like as somebody that has been on a ship for like a week where we didn't get off land and we could leave our cabin, it is horrible. So I cannot imagine being stuck on like there was people stuck on for like 9 months,
Mm.
isolated in their cabin.
It's almost the opposite. It's like, oh, this is going to be a dream vacation. It turns
Oh
into your
no.
worst
Oh, they were
nightmare.
they were guests.
No, they were not guests. They were performers on the ship.
Oh, okay, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
perform that's just like, oh God, just sounds actually horrifying. I mean, obviously, like, it's not the end of the world, but it's like pretty much jail.
Yeah. Right. Jail with a nice view, right?
Most of them don't have any like windows in there. So
That's true. That's
jail, it's jail.
true. It's just straight up jail.
No jail. Like seriously, like the food is awful. You're stuck on a ship, like in a tin vessel. May even be worse than jail, depending on the jail cell. Depending on the type of jail. I'm not even kidding. Like, have you guys done the ship life thing?
No.
I've been on a cruise ship for a week or so, and
Okay. As a guest though. But
as as a guest of a musician.
oh,
So
okay. So you were in their cabin, so you got to see the whole life.
I'm also backstage.
Yeah. Yeah. It's definitely it's a great gig. Like a totally like an amazing gig. Especially like if you're right out of school because it like really gets your chops up. You know, there's no better way to get better. Like that's really where I learned how to sing.
Hmm.
You know, not at Berkeley, like when you're on the job. And so, because I was singing every night for 3 to 5 hours, but it's just not as glamorous as it sounds. You know, like there's cabin inspection, there's crew drill, and there's also like a fine print in your contract that like you can do whatever they assign to you. So I thought I was just like going on to sing, you know, like I went to Berkeley, I'm like going to sing, I'm like a singer. And like I told you, when I was younger, my ego was a little bit bigger than it is now. I was less humbled by the years of disappointment and failure. But I was so angry that like they would just be like, okay, now you have to wake up in the morning and put life jackets on people because we need an extra hand. And I'm like, I'm the singer. I should not be putting life jackets on people. Or like they'll be like, oh, you have to like do this tour and like walk the guests from like point A to point B. And I was just like, why do they need me to walk them from point A to point B? But I was just like, obviously I could have just done it, but I was just like, so like, you know.
That's
One of my
amazing.
good friends, Brian Sansom, he's an unbelievable drummer, and the golf pro got sick, and they dropped him off at a port, and they're like, "You're the new golf pro," and he's like, "I've never played golf in my life." They're like, "Well, you better start watching some YouTube videos."
Yeah, it's kind of like that. Like they kind of own you for those few months, I guess, or like they can just do whatever they want. I mean, typically they don't, but
Yeah.
you never know.
I've seen a lot of your posts of you singing, and you're fantastic.
Oh, thank you.
Follow your Spotify as well. You started this interview out saying you only post, or you try to only post, if it has to do with your goals.
Well, I only post for my goals.
Oh, okay. So the try.
Yeah. Yeah, the try is like you'll never see me posting like my meal unless it's like a day in a life of a music creator, or you'll never see me posting my dog unless he's like in the studio with me like making music. You won't see me post on vacation unless it's like my dog is out on the beach and like I'm like still working on vacation or whatever. Right? Like my channels are like only for my goals. I don't have like a personal channel. I don't use social media in that way. I only put like every single thing is like towards for my goals, like focusing on one true new fan a day, or getting people on my mailing list, or selling a product, or working with music tech companies, or promoting a song, like whatever it is, like with my goal, that's the only way I use social media.
Is that how you started building your brand? Was that
Yeah.
one?
Yeah, like I mean, the way I started building my brand was like I want to work with music tech companies. How do I get them to come to me? And so like I just started using my page as a digital portfolio of what I have to offer. Like if you go to my page, you know who I am, you know who I have to offer, you know everything, and I just stay very honest and as authentic as I could be. Those little things I've done, like my goal, like I only post for my goals and all of that. One, I feel like it helps me reach my goals faster because that's the only reason why I'm posting on social media. I don't care about like being famous or like sharing my life as much. Like I really only care about like, is this a means to an end? I know that sounds kind of intense, but that's why I use social media. And that's also kind of like I started building this mindset around it, like because that's my relationship with social media. Like a lot of musicians don't have a good relationship with social media because they, they'll make a video and then it'll only get like 10 views or how many views they think not enough, and I'm the same way. So I was getting like very depressed about it, and I was like, all right, a lot of this is kind of just like tricking your mind and kind of like manipulating the situation, for a positive thing. So if I work really hard on a video and it doesn't it doesn't like do as well as I had hoped, I asked myself, did I get one new fan a day? Did one person find value in this? And the answer is yes, and the answer is always yes. Then I'm like, okay, that's great. And then we can work on what could I have done better? What could I do differently, right? So I'm just focusing towards the bigger picture, and that helps with me with my relationship. Also, because I only post for my goals, it just makes my social media more efficient and just helps me in the long run. Do you know what I mean? So that's kind of why I do that. If I were going to post like not my goals and stuff like that, I would probably make like a private separate account, because I also like it. The fan culture is a little like, it's awesome, but it's also terrifying. It's like a combination, because I I love, of course, I appreciate and love having fans. That's how I have a career, is because I have fans. But then there's also like, weirdos out there. Like even weirdos that are your fans, they could say kind of weird stuff and like act weird. And then there's also like the haters. So I just kind of like keep my private life as private as I can, with like showing as much as I want to, and kind of keeping like, nobody cares about what I'm eating. Do you know what I mean? Like what do I need to, that's not going to help with working with music tech companies or like selling products,
And I feel like so many people, you said they have a bad relationship. And I think that is so on point with how people consume this stuff right now. And then they don't want to go work on it because they don't have a good relationship with it personally,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
One of the things that I've been taking and enjoying your tech course, tech companies, and I wanted to talk a little bit about your approach to content creation with social media, because I think one time when people are discussing their lack of success on social media, a lot of times it's lacking any sort of intentional effort when it comes to the content or when it comes to how they're presenting themselves. All of that seems to be kind of haphazard,
Yeah.
And one of the things, especially the one that I want to talk about, is you talked about the controlled chaos. Am I saying that right?
Controlled
When
chaos.
you said the type that, like the Kardashians
Oh, yes,
often
controlled controversy.
controlled controversy. Yes.
My controlled chaos.
Yeah. That's my
Yes,
life.
controlled controversy. Yes. So, like, for example, that would be if I posted a thing like, you don't need music theory to be an amazing producer, right? Because that's going to start a discussion. Does it really matter either way? Like in the grand scheme of things, like no. Like I'm not saying like something even more controversial would be like abortion should be illegal or should be legal or whatever. Like these are people's like lives at stake. So like usually like people don't like, unless you're like going for it, like Candace Owens or whatever. And that's why she has a lot of, polarity drives traffic, right? Because there's people that are for you and there's people that are against you. And the conversation around that is what helps spark interest. Every famous person has a lot of controversy around them, right? Like, are they worth the fame? Are they not? I mean, like, look at Taylor Swift, right? Like, there's people that have made like 45-minute feature-length films on how much she sucks. And then there's also people that have gone to every single one of her concerts in every single country. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, you just get those things. So you can poke the bear and tap on controlled controversy if you want to, drive those like diehard fans to you. So like for me, my mission is to make music production and entrepreneurship more accessible to more people. So if I were to post something like "You don't need music theory," that works with my mission because it's giving the you can do this, like you don't need to it's a you can approach, you can like learn music theory as you go, it's an accessible approach. Whereas if my mission were to make music theory more well known to more people, I would say something like, if you don't learn music theory, you are walking around blind. I don't know, something like that, like a different side of things. And then you spark the controlled controversy towards it. So those diehard people that want to learn music theory or whatever, they're going to follow you to the fires because you believe what they believe. And then vice versa, like the people that are like, oh, no, you don't need music theory, they're going to follow me to the fires or whatever. So you see what I mean? So that's kind of like the controlled controversy. And like, if we look at the Kardashians throughout time, when they've been trending, which right now I don't think they are trending, there's always a controversy around them, So that's kind of like how they spark it. And then lots of people are kind of like that. It's like a very they feed into the controversies because they're feeding into their diehard fans. They don't care about the people that don't agree with them. Those people, they're not their fan. They're not for them. They just care about the people that are for them.
And what about when you're creating this, do you keep some sort of rules on how many posts you have to do per day, per week? And then to follow this up, and I think this is really useful for our listeners because a lot of them don't have a schedule to this stuff.
Lots of folds to that question, but I would say for me, I try to post I've gone through different phases with social media, as you should. Like when you're first starting out, you have to put in the reps because you need to learn the skill of how to create good content. Just like you would learn the skill how to play guitar or how to sing or how to talk on stage or how to tell jokes. Like you kind of have to do it in order to get better at it, right? And like there's the formulas that you can teach people, like, you have to have a good hook and you have to have a good meat and you have to have call to action or whatever. But the people that really shine are the people that find their signature. And that's when it gets the only way to develop a signature is by doing it, like how did Billie Eilish craft her sound, like her singing sound, or like Ariana Grande or whatever. Like they have to cultivate it, and you cultivate it through doing it. So you have to kind of like put in the reps. So when I first started, I was posting on TikTok 3 to 5 times a day. I mean, this was like COVID times, and I'm a very determined person. So like I will like do it until I like figure it out. So I was like doing that. And now I post like 5 to 6 times a week, but I know how to make good content. So you kind of have to like figure it out. You wouldn't want to post like, and then you also have to learn about like the different algorithms and the different platforms. Like TikTok is a great place to learn because you can just post like endless amounts every single day. I think like Lil Nas X, when he was like promoting his songs, like he would post like 100 times a day, like you just post. And whereas like Instagram is a different algorithm, so you wouldn't want to like bombard it with too many posts. But these algorithms are always changing, and this information is available to everybody. Like the CEOs of these companies usually like put out a statement being like, this is what our platform is looking for right now. Because that's the thing, like we're making content essentially for free for these platforms, right? If we don't make content, nobody's hanging out on the apps, and they want to keep people on the apps for as long as possible. So if you make good content and the algorithms know who to show it to, they're going, and that's another reason why I always post for my goals, right? Because I've trained the algorithms to know who my ideal audience is. So they're going to do their best job to put it in front of the right people. So now it's kind of like a machine that you need to keep feeding. So beginning is like determination. I'm going to put in the reps. I'm going to do this as long as I can until I like land on something that works. I land on a formula that works. I land on a content format. I talk about this a lot, right? You figure it out. Then you're motivated because you've built this thing, and then it's a machine that it's like, you get the bus moving, and then you just like want to keep it moving. And at least for me, I've seen many people fall off, which is always shocking to me because I'm like, you built up this whole thing. Why do you stop? And like, for this or that, like a breakup, or I want to be an artist instead of this, like just a total shift of like business and whatever. But for me, the reason why I show up is because I'm addicted to it. It's working. I don't know. Like it's just something that I do, and it's become it's become very like second nature, like I just post. And I've gotten a lot smarter with how I post and what kind of content I make, so it doesn't take me as long. But then I'm also one of those people that I'm like, okay, once I figured out this, I need to dive into something I haven't figured out yet. So that's when I felt like, okay, I have a good sense on like organic content. So now I'm diving into ads. And I only just started running ads like 3 weeks ago. And that was just like another level of like marketing that I want to dive into. And I just love learning and like trying new things. So that works for me. And my day, I'm a very like goal oriented person, so like I'll set like a set of goals for myself, and then I'll just do all the tasks until I like reach those goals, and then I set new goals. So that's how I do it. And then I also follow like my 4M strategy, where I spend 90 minutes a day minimum on music, mindset, marketing, and money. So I like try to split up my day that way. So that's kind of the different things I do to like motivate myself. I hope that answered that question.
Because you do this and you're addicted to it, you also make your listeners and your fans addicted, and you're giving trusted resource as a trusted resource that keeps showing up. And what I loved so much about your newsletter was I knew what to expect, and it was those 4 M's.
Yes.
And could you go into each one a little bit? I know you're just talking over, but I was so excited to ask the question, and then you just pulled the rug right out from under me and went for it first, Sabrina.
Yes. I need to write my newsletter for today actually already. But yeah, so I follow the 4 M's. I feel like focusing on those 4 elements of my life has changed me so much as like an entrepreneur, because there was moments where I would just be focusing on music and then I'd be like broke, or I would just be focusing on marketing and I wouldn't have any money and I wouldn't feel like fulfilled as an artist, or I was just focusing on money and then like my channels weren't doing as well, or you know what I mean? Or I was just focusing on music, marketing, and money, and then my health was degrading. And if you don't have your health, you have nothing, right? So you have to focus on all 4, right? I feel like if you focus on music, mindset, marketing, and money, like you will be successful in one way or another. Maybe you won't, you probably won't be Beyonce, right? No, many of us won't be Beyonce, but you can have a 6-figure career, which in the United States is still a really good amount of money to live on, doing music and doing your own thing. So that's why I focus on those 4 things. And then each week I write a tip that's most like usually something that I've went through that week, like a mindset tip that I went through that I overcame, or a music tip, because I'm always like continuing my learning, a music tip that I just learned and I just put it in there. And then same with the money and marketing. And then of course, like I'm always also trying to like promote my classes or my courses or whatever I'm promoting. So I'll use some sort of, I'll give a lot of value and then give a quick little promo of something always. But there's usually something that I want to announce, and also that my fans want to hear about. But the newsletter is probably like my proudest channel, if I'm being honest, because it's like my channel, like Instagram is still like Meta, TikTok is TikTok, and like YouTube is Google, but like my channel is my channel. And I have like I have almost 30,000 people in my email list. Wow. And I have like a 60% open rate, which is like very, very good. So there's people that are like looking forward to my newsletter. And that just brings me like so joy. I write it all by myself. I sit down and I write it. I spend a couple hours writing it. And it just brings me so much joy.
For months now, I've been sending them to Chris. When there's one like touches home for us or something that we were talking about that week, if it had to do with manifestation, or it would just hit home, I would just send it his way and just be like, another one. Here comes another one. So it's fantastic.
Thank you so much.
I was so happy to hear that she made time for us within days of getting married.
Yeah,
how sweet was that? And to show what a hard worker she is.
Yeah, I don't know. This may be my own interpretation of it too, but to me, the wedding experience for me was very much all encompassing, and I have a hard time imagining having the headspace to do what she did, even just with us and all the other things that she has going on, pretty much simultaneously with also the whole wedding and all the things that go around a wedding. So that was awesome.
Yeah. And it was funny, as soon as we start talking about the industry and things that she does as far as posting and getting into business, she said she will post one thing about her wedding just to make it relatable to, the people that follow her, but really that her focus is and will always be on her goals with music and growing her channel. Unlike the picture that I sent you of my food with a guitar case in the background at the airport yesterday, asking you if this qualified all sides checklists that we just learned.
My initial response was no, that counts as diabetes, but I didn't say that.
It was a buffet. I mean, I had to grab as much as I could.
Well, the main thing that really struck me was how quickly she rose from basically just starting with ideas, right? This is so important that we understand that there's no magical way of making any big results in this industry. There is only an idea and then the ability to execute that idea, and whether or not that idea actually helps enough people that you get grow to the point and to the speed in which she did with this lessons that she provided with Logic Pro, which, there's something to be said about how when you pick something very specific, that no one, that maybe there's an underserved area with, that's a valuable thing to figure out. But just in the sense that it's very specific is very helpful to understand or to plan around. Like when you pick something too big, which arguably sometimes is our own issue here on Musicians Tip Jar, is that you're picking something so broad that has so many places to cover. It's harder to focus. It's harder to target an audience. It's harder to know exactly where you should be putting all of your investment into that, energy into that. So it's something valuable about how she picked something very specific like Logic Pro to start with.
She also said she reverse engineered what she wanted to do. So the income came from the activity that she craved, which was creating. And that was something that she was getting into and learning on a daily basis. So while she's doing that, why not post the process?
I feel like we've really started to see a lot more examples of this post-COVID positive results that people experienced. We've obviously, there's a lot of struggle that occurred there. There was a lot of grief and a lot of sadness, but there was plenty of people that were also able to find success in all of that, right? Which is always the case, right? It's
not with COVID though, because they would rather negative results.
Very true. Yeah. But the idea that she came up with this before she even really felt like she was qualified to start making these videos. Like she said, she was making them while she learned. Like she was literally learning the skills with Logic Pro and then posting what she learned about to help others. And that is one of those things where we always say you don't really need to wait until you're the expert at what it is you think that you could be good at. You can start doing it right away, right? That's where the place to start is just starting.
They say to do that now, even when you're recording a new album or any new creative project. Start filming, start creating content as you go. So you, not even records for yourself, but to bring your friends, fans, family through the whole process. And it's authentic.
And I think that that's part of the journey that keeps it interesting, that keeps you motivated, because your learning is one of the most stimulating things around our brains, right? And if, like, we all know, once you get to the habit of playing the exact same set all the time, you get pretty bored with yourself, right? And same with like playing the same covers. As a cover artist, somebody that does a lot of that, I can say that it's having just a few new things to play. It just makes the whole night better for me. And I think that as we continue to pivot between all of these things that we're trying to do and learning as we go, that's really where the discovery comes. I think the easiest to learn what it is you want. It's really in the action itself that you get the most insight.
Once we started editing these videos and doing the course, and I was tasked with trying to figure that out and never having done any of this in my life, I truly enjoy it. And now that part of this podcast has become something I can't wait to do. And I never thought that that would be something I would enjoy doing. And even now, I have friends saying, "Hey, would you be able to edit this for me?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'll give it a shot." But I'm enjoying what I'm doing. So it's never too late to find new things that you could do and possibly, make some income off of it.
Well, and that's when I loved how she circled back to something that we've brought up so many times over the seasons, that skill stacking is really that key aspect to finding your own little niche within the music industry, because it's from doing, and then it's from realizing what it is you really enjoy doing, and all of the ways that you are good at things that maybe sets you aside from everyone else. And it's not always what you think it is, right? It can just be that you're better at time management, or you're better at communication, or you're better at understanding computers than others. Uh, what did Trump say? Everything is computer in here, right? So it's really unique to what it is that comes naturally to you and what you enjoy doing, right? And those kind of start to stack up until you get to a point where you kind of can step back even after the fact and then realize, wow, I am uniquely qualified for what it is that I'm doing. And that is a really great place to be. I think the butterfly effect is another thing that she brought up that we keep kind of dancing around. And I mentioned to you Lexi Limitless, who's one of those social media people that I also enjoy following her. And I have followed her for, it feels like 8 years now. Yeah, it's probably been about that, because when I first started following her, she was just achieving her goal of visiting every country in the world and to be the youngest person to ever do that. And that's an incredible success that she can use as a social media. Everybody enjoys watching people travel, but in addition, it's a lot more entertaining than food, that's for sure. But also, it's such a constant change, right? And so there's always new content. And one of the things that she talked about recently was how one of the planes she was supposed to get on, well, she was booked for it, and then her visa came in a few days early, so she decided to book a different flight to take advantage of those extra days that she didn't think she'd have. And then the flight that she had originally booked crashed, and everyone on it died. And she just talked about just how incredible that is, and that is totally the butterfly effect in a intense way of saying the butterfly effect. But this idea that everything leads to the next thing, that leads to the next thing. And if each thing didn't happen, you wouldn't be where you are right now. And some of those can be really big things. And some of them can be measured in small ways that are just very valuable in the same.
She said that was her worst year ever. Loss, breakups. She shelved a girl pop project she was working on for so many weeks, and then COVID shut that all down. So no one even got paid for any of that stuff. And then she could never produce the exact chain of events that delivered this now new 6-figure home studio career. Also meeting her husband. So her advice was like, frame these setbacks, frame these things that happen not as setbacks, but like plot twists.
Yeah.
There's no dead ends.
It's a very hard thing to do in the moment. It is easy to sit here and say that that's how we should do. And we talk about being positive all the time, right? And how important and valuable that is to your odds of success. But more specifically, like the idea that in those rough times, instead of feeling the sadness, can you be asking yourself, what is this? What are the great things that are going to come from this? Like, what is it that this karma is bringing me, or this message of challenge is bringing me? It's really a lot to ask. I understand when you're in those moments, it's much more of a challenge to simply do that. But that is the difference in so many people's stories of success, is in those moments, they were looking for opportunity. They were taking advantage of the situation in a way that helped them grow towards something bigger. It's always amazing to me how this industry has no straight line. I have the desire to be a dentist. I really have a straight.
I never knew that about you.
I don't at all. This is just an example.
Oh, sorry.
I hate the dentist. But to have this ambition and so many career choices, there is such a path to follow. There is a path paved by others that you can continue down and pretty much have the results that you anticipate, as long as you do the steps required, right? In our industry, it's so different of an approach because everything is going to be done your way. And that's a gift if that is okay with you, but it can be also daunting and it can be exhausting. And so often, like within the university aspect, people are there to learn skills to get them ahead, right? And that does work. I do think they get advantage in that. They also get connections and networking and opportunity that perhaps you wouldn't achieve without those things. But the truth is that so much of what you get out of your career comes from, being in the trenches and built and carving your own path and doing the work. It really doesn't come until you've spent those hours doing the thing that you want to do.
And it's ebb and flow. We were talking last episode about practicing and getting that time in. I just got off of 4 days of playing shows in Colorado, where the whole last month I didn't have any live shows, but I felt like I was practicing more. And then the first 2 shows, everything I was trying to play brand new that I had just learned, I did not have that flow at all. By the 4th night, I did. But having that experience is something that you have to keep going for and showing up, because every environment is different.
I think one of the biggest things that she really got through to me is not only how bad of an idea it is to post your food and things that don't have any relevance to your, your brand, I guess, or your mission, as she says in her course, but also to understand what of that represents you in a way that makes you interesting, or that makes you feel like what you're doing is being validated by the content you're putting out,
And if you want to have another Instagram handle or any other handle that you want to post stuff about your life that's not relevant to the purpose of your career, go ahead and do that. And then that way you don't have to worry about what you're posting there. Mm-hmm. But then her goal was, before you post, think, does this move a fan? Does this get an email assignment or a client closer to you? What's the purpose of that? And posting diabetes pictures, I guess, did not pass the test for you.
Well, and that is also that relationship with social media. That was the other huge thing that she said that really made me think, like, people do have a very bad relationship with social media. So many people, we just had that dopamine episode and talking about how so many of us, without even thinking, it's not intentional, we just go onto social media, and that, the way that the algorithms are created, it feeds that dopamine so quick. And our relationship with being on social media can be very unhealthy, and it's feeding things that are false, or it's giving you a sense of a reality that isn't fair, and it's not good for you. And if you constantly spend more of the time being that consumer on social media, I think that it ends up a big disadvantage for you. And so identifying what your relationship is with social media, how much time do you spend on it? When does it, when does it take you away from the moment of where you are in life? And then how does it make you feel after you've been on it for a little while? Are you feeling better about yourself or worse? All those things, especially with kids, it really matters a lot. I'm seeing that with my kids right now, that it just breaks my heart to watch people feel bad about themselves because of what they just watched on these things by choice.
And they forget it's a highlight reel anyway,
Yeah.
Not too many people are posting their worst days ever. They're posting their best days ever.
Mm-hmm.
The way she went after Apple is no way different than how you would go after a fan. So she targeted Apple by consistently sharing Logic Pro hacks. That she referred to it as a magnetized portfolio. That's how you should look at your Instagram or any other social post. Like, how is this a magnet to new fans, if that's your goal?
And that really is kind of our main focus with this episode, was how do you become more attractive to the things that you want? And social media is a great and easy way to highlight this concept, but it can apply to everything that you're doing. If you're going into a gig every day and you are half shit-faced, why are you attracting them to book you more? Or if you go to places and you perform and you get hired to be the drummer for this touring band, and you show up well prepared, well dressed, fitting their brand, doing all the work, doing extra things, you are putting out there that you are asking for more, right?
Yeah.
That is how that energy is exchanged. And the same thing kind of works with social media, that if what she did specifically was she knew she couldn't get to Apple, right? She couldn't get in touch with them. But she knew that if she posted the right kind of things, eventually Apple would see them. And that's how she manifested that into reality. Beautiful example of that. And then one of the ways that one of the things I enjoyed within her course was talking about controlled controversy, and how the idea is that what you're basically doing is posting something that's going to draw a reaction from everybody, and they're going to have to pick a side, and you can take this pretty far and still walk that line. And to be honest, I think Trump does this all the time with his posts, but it can be in a way that makes everyone just engage more in your social media, which is a really important part to increase the exposure of your content on the algorithms.
That goes back to her saying every reel, every carousel, every CTA call to action must pass that litmus test that you just said. If it doesn't serve the mission, it's noise.
Yeah.
We do that while we scroll. Like, we have a mission when we're watching something, obviously not you, but everybody else who's on it. I know, I'm just joking. You're scrolling because this appeals to me. I'm pausing. This doesn't. This appeals to me. This doesn't. So you want the people to scroll past you that have no interest in you. You know?
Totally.
My friend Wes would come visit in Colorado, and when I first started running the Boulder, I don't know what, someone said something to run sometimes with your hands open and kind of at your side, and then everything in front of your palms is what you can change. So everything behind you, it's in the past. So I would think of, you first, most important is your mind. Second tool is your body. And then third would be, for me at the time, would be music. So it was like mind, body, music. And I was like, damn, why couldn't I just come up with another M? And I could have had it the 3 M's. She came up with 4. And I was just stuck with the B for body. So her 4 M's framework was music, mindset, marketing, and money. Music being keep the craft sharp. Mindset being the resilience rituals. She calls out reframing the disappointments. Marketing, her content engine, funnels, the brand deals. Please sign up for her newsletter. It's awesome. And then money, your price anchors, product mix. What's your target? For Chris Webb, it's $1 million. Some people, 6-figure target,
Yeah, I do like how she does all that herself, like she said. And obviously we're not the only ones that enjoy that newsletter, because she said she had over 30,000 subscribers. That's amazing. Oh. And when you give good content with no fluff, it's really easy to consume, and then you keep coming back because you really got something out of it and you look forward to it again. It is a very simple concept, but it's just somehow it's just not as easy to start doing. But when you understand what it is that she's doing here, she's giving us something great that we really get a lot of value out of quickly and easily. And it's not like you have to really decipher what she's trying to say. So all of that is very valuable. So our action step today for y'all is to follow SEIDS she's on all platforms as at SEIDS, SEIDS, and you can see how her content might help you move forward with your production skills, first of all, or with your just move towards any part of this career in the corporate world. That's really where she focuses. So go and check it out.
Action step number 2 is pick a pain point that you're living right now. How might this be your future butterfly effect? How are you going to reframe something that's not going so great right now and adapt it to work for you in the future?
Love it. And we know that your time is valuable, and we appreciate you spending this time here with us, being a part of this community. It's our hope that you feel that sense of community here at Musicians Tip Jar and help spread the word to make us all stronger. If you'd like to get a hold of us, what's the best way to do that?
Send us an email at musicianstipjar@gmail.com, and musicianstipjar.com is where you can check out all the resources and discounts we have collected just for you. Check out all our episodes now on YouTube. If you find this information useful, please rate and subscribe to the podcast and slam that like button, or gently hover over it on YouTube so we can help keep you up on the finance side of your music business.
As always, thank you for joining us. Remember, there is already enough for everyone. You just need to know how to get what you want. Till next time, on behalf of Dave Tamkin and myself, Chris Webb, stay happy, healthy, and wealthy. Stop chasing what isn't chasing you. The right things will meet you when you move with purpose, not desperation. This is Musician's Tip Jar.
Oh Lord, I could use somebody. I could use somebody. I could use somebody.
Nothing on this show should be considered specific, personal, or professional advice. Please consult an appropriate tax, legal, business, or financial professional for individualized advice. Individual results are not guaranteed, and all discussed strategies have the potential for profit or loss. The hosts are operating on behalf of Musicians Tip Jar LLC exclusively.
Could use a little help here. Could use some help. Could use a little help here.